first Monday of every month, every floor scrubbed, every chair dusted, a perfectly awful day, every bed without a wrinkle, every hair combed on 97 orphans. Poor Jerusha Abbott has to bear the brunt of it all. Poor Jerusha Abbott, the oldest orphan in the John Grier home. A perfectly awful day. The trustees come to visit, taking tea breaks, having reports written. They hurry away in the night for houses in the city, and I watch them with 97 orphans. Poor Jerusha Abbott, never breaking free of this place. Poor Jerusha Abbott, the oldest orphan in the John Grier home. Little Tommy Dillon comes singing up the stairs. Jerusha Abbott, you are wanted in the office, and you better hurry up. Who wants me? Mrs. Lippett in the office, and I think she's really mad. Where did I go wrong? Were the sandwiches not thin enough? Were there shells in the nut cakes? Where did I go wrong? Did a lady visitor see the hole in Susie Hawthorne's stocking? I hurry to the office. The long lower hall is quite dark. One last trustee is leaving through the big front door, his arm raised, waving to the automobile in the drive. A perfectly awful day, a silhouetted figure, tall and gangly, shrouded in the darkness. I cannot see his face, but the headlights in the driveway cast a shadow sharp against the wall, looking like a daddy long legs, the biggest one that I have ever seen, a creeping, crawling daddy long legs, and it makes me laugh. On this awful day, me, Jerusha Abbott, the oldest orphan in the John Grier home. Mrs. Lippett! I run down the corridor. I step into the office. Mrs. Lippett smiles at me. Strange. She asks me to sit. Stranger still, she hands me a letter. Strangest of all, who's it from? Did you not notice the gentleman who has just gone? The tall man? The letter is from him. Open it and be grateful for the rare good fortune that has befallen you. Thank you, Mrs. Lippett. For Miss Abbott. 351 Riverside Drive, Manhattan. The further education of Miss Jerusha Abbott by Mr. John Smith. 9-point plan. Further education. 1. Owing to the exceptional talent that Miss Abbott has shown in her original and amusing essays, Mr. Smith has decided to send her to college. 2. It is Mr. Smith's plan that Miss Abbott should educate herself to become a writer. 3. Miss Abbott's board and tuition will be paid direct to the college. 4. She will receive in addition during her 4 years of study a monthly allowance of $35. This will ensure an equality with her fellow students. 5. Miss Abbott must write a letter of acknowledgement to Mr. Smith once a month. Not thanks. Thanks must never be mentioned. 6. Mr. Smith's name is obviously not Mr. Smith, but he prefers to remain unknown. To Miss Abbott, he will never be anything but Mr. Smith. Who is is this man who has designed this uncommon plan to educate Jerusha however best he can? How can this be? Who would take on this uncertainty to educate Jerusha? Who in heaven's name is he? I guess I'll never know him. I guess I'll never even learn his name. These are his orders. This is his game. I guess I'll never know him. You mustn't know your betters, but he will know me in letters. 7. Miss Abbott's letters must tell of the progress of her studies and details of her daily life. Such a letter she would write her family, if she had one. 8. The reason for the letters is to foster Miss Abbott's facility in literary expression. 9. Mr. Smith will never answer Miss Abbott's letters, nor take the slightest notice of them. He detests letter writing, and above all, does not wish Miss Abbott to become a burden. So though I might thank him twice each and every night, he will never answer. No, Mr. Smith will never write. I guess I'll never know him, though I am rather curious to see what kind of man would educate me. I guess I'll never know him. You mustn't know your betters, but he will know me in letters. This man will never write me. I cannot outguess him. So how should I address him?
Dear kind trustee who sends orphans to college.
Here I am, after 4 hours on a train. It's a funny sensation, isn't it?
I never rode on a train before.
College is the biggest, most bewildering place. I get lost whenever I leave my room. I'll write you a description later when I'm feeling less muddled. Classes don't begin until Monday morning, but I wanted to write a letter now just to get acquainted. It seems queer to be writing letters at all.
I've never written more than 3 in my life, so please overlook if mine are not the model kind.
Before leaving the home, Mrs. Lippett and I had a very serious talk. She told me how to behave all the rest of my life, and especially towards the kind gentleman who is doing so much for me. She told me that normally Mr. Smith only supports boys through college, girls being a waste of his charity as they tend to marry themselves off to the first unsuitable man and so fritter away the education lavished on them. So I must take care to be a very respectful girl.
But how can one be respectful to a person who calls himself John Smith?
Why couldn't you have picked out a name with a little personality? I might as well write letters to Dear Hitching Post.
Or Dear Clothes Pole.
Anyway, I've been thinking about you a great deal. Having somebody take an interest in me after all these years. I feel like I belong to somebody now, a kind of family. I feel like I belong to somebody now, a guiding hand. A soul who takes an interest in my welfare. A friend who takes an interest in my life. I feel like I belong to somebody now, a kind of angel. I feel like I belong to something more than just a school. But when I think of you, I know so little. I can only think of 3 things. You're tall, you're rich, and you hate girls. I guess I could call you Mr. Girl Hater, Mr. Girl sure you'll stay tall. So I'll hold you, dear Daddy Longlegs, old Daddy Longlegs. I'll keep calling you. I hope you don't mind, Daddy Longlegs. It's just a pet name. We won't tell a soul. No, the bell sounds. I must go. Yours, Jerusha Abbott, whose education is underwritten by a man I lovingly call Mr. Hitching Post Clothes Pole Daddy Longlegs Smith.
P.S. I know I'm not to expect any letters in return, and I've been warned not to bother you with questions. But tell me, Daddy, just this once.
Are you awfully old or just a little old?
And are you completely gray or just a little gray?
It's very difficult thinking about you in the abstract like a theorem in geometry. Given you're a tall old man who hates girls, but is very generous to one quite impertinent girl, what do you look like?
Somewhat amusing. A semblance of style. Certainly better than many a letter I've read in a while. But what makes me chuckle, lo and behold, she thinks I'm old, and crusty too, perhaps, and cold. She thinks I'm old, a misconceit has taken hold. Good punctuation, the humor is quaint, and reading her prose, I suppose, is more fun than, say, watching the drying of paint. But it's sort of funny in its own sort of way. She thinks I'm gray. Why she thinks so, I can't say. She thinks I'm gray, and no doubt withering away. But I made it clear my obligation does not include communication. A girl could lead to aggravation. Boys never question their patron's appearance. They'd never consider such gross interference. Boys are less trouble in my estimation. My appearance should mean as little to her as hers to me. Is she fair or dark, fat or thin, short or tall? I have no idea and no wish to know. What does it matter? She has a brain. That's what matters. A brain and a wit and a fearless turn of phrase. This girl deserves her chance. A good education is all that she'll need. Then she'll go on to write a triumphant first novel the great literati will read. She'll be the creme de la creme, the talk of the town, a prominent author of world renown. While I look on from the side, glowing with pride, knowing how it all began. Content to remain in the shadows, a girl-hating gray old man.
Dear Daddy Longlegs, I love college, and I know thanks must not be mentioned, so I won't mention them. But I'm feeling sorry for everybody who isn't a girl and who can't be here.
My room is up in a tower that used to be the contagious ward before they built the infirmary.
After you've lived in a dormitory for 18 years with 20 roommates, it is restful to be alone. This is the first chance I've ever had to get acquainted with Jerusha Abbott. I think I'm going to like her.
There are two other freshmen on the same floor as me named
Sally McBride.
and Julia Rutledge Pendleton.
Sally has red hair and a turn-up nose and is really quite friendly.
Julia comes from one of the first families in New York and hasn't noticed me yet.
Sally is the most entertaining person in the world.
And Julia Rutledge Pendleton the least so.
She believes that if you are a Pendleton, that fact alone admits you to heaven without any further examination.
Julia and I were born to be enemies. You know, Daddy, It isn't the work that's going to be hard in college, it's the play. Half the time I don't know what the girls are talking about. Their jokes seem to relate to a past that everyone but me has shared. It's a miserable feeling. I've had it all my life.
I am in a foreign world. They speak a language of their own. Nobody knows where I have come from, Daddy. I can't help but feel alone. I am in a foreign world. I am different, I am strange. I know that I should try to fit in somehow, but I don't think that I can change. And I know you won't believe it, but I just wanna be like other girls, wear fancy shoes like other girls, write a literary masterpiece for scholars to peruse like other girls. Sally McBride is my best friend. I told her that my folks had died, 'cause I can't tell her where I come from, Daddy. Is that the same as having lied? For I have shut out the remembrance, 'cause I just wanna be like other girls, make lemon pies like other girls, cure disease and write a symphony, and win the Nobel Prize like other girls. I bought an evening dress. Oh, glory me! You can't imagine how it feels, dressed in gingham all your life, wearing hand-me-downs from girls who didn't like you.
It takes its toll.
Takes its toll. The bitterness of wearing your enemy's clothes eats into your soul. I am in a foreign world. I am different, I am strange. I know that I should try to fit in somehow, but I don't think that I can change. And I know you won't believe it, but I just wanna be like other girls, get all dressed up like other girls, become a scientist, a motorist, a suffragette, a Methodist, a Fabian, a Freudian, the cross valedictorian, or what else heaven knows, like other girls, like other girls, like other girls.
Dear Daddy Longlegs, I suppose you've been waiting very impatiently to hear what I am learning?
Latin, Second Punic War. Hannibal and his forces pitched camp at Lake Trasimenius last night. They prepared an ambuscade for the Romans, and a battle took place at the 4th watch this morning. Romans in retreat. For French, I have to read the Three Musketeers, c'est très amusant. Geometry, I finished cylinders, now doing cones. And I'm learning all about the human body. Physiology is really complex. I hope you never touch alcohol, Daddy. It does awful things to your liver. And in a man of advanced years, it could be fatal. And so it's good night, Daddy Longlegs, sweet Daddy Longlegs. I'll keep calling you. I hope you don't mind, Daddy Longlegs. It's just a pet name. What else can I do? You are such a dream come true. You're Jerusha Abbott.
Not affiliated with the John Grier Home.
Dear Daddy Longlegs, Julia Pendleton dropped in this evening to pay a social call and stayed a solid hour.
She started on the subject of family, and I couldn't switch her off.
She wanted to know what my mother's maiden name was.
What an unfortunate question to ask a person from an orphan asylum.
I hadn't the courage to say I didn't know.
Mrs. Lippett got all our last names from the telephone book. Abbott is on the first page. She got Jerusha from a tombstone.
But I couldn't tell Julia that, so I miserably plumped for the first name I could think of. Montgomery.
Then she wanted to know whether we were the Massachusetts Montgomerys or the Virginian kind.
Her mother was a Rutherford. The family came over on the Ark.
On her father's side, they date back further than Adam.
Dear Daddy Longlegs, the postman brought me 3 letters today. All bills, which is all I ever get. Maybe one day I'll get a personal letter. What would that be like? I can only imagine.
Oh, you never answered my question, and it was very important.
Are you bald?
I have planned exactly what you look like very satisfactorily until I reach the top of your head, and then I'm stuck.
I can't decide whether you have white hair or black hair or sort of sprinkly gray hair or maybe none at all. Please inform. Oh, and Daddy, did you ever hear of Michelangelo?
He was a famous artist who lived in Italy in the Middle Ages. The whole class laughed because I thought he was an archangel.
Doesn't he sound like one? Even more embarrassing, somebody mentioned Florence Nightingale, and I asked if she was a freshman.
That joke has gone all over college.
You wouldn't believe, Daddy, what an abyss of ignorance my mind is.
The things that most girls with a properly assorted family and friends and a library know by absorption, I've never even heard of.
I didn't know that Henry VIII was married more than once, or Shelley was a poet. I didn't know Alexander the Great had conquered most of Greece, or people came from monkeys. I didn't know that the Garden of Eden was all just a beautiful myth. I never read Great Expectations, Summer on the Lake, Euripides' Electra. I never met the 2 noble kinsmen or ever came across the Merry Wives of Windsor. I always feel like I'm Alice in Wonderland, stranded in Vanity Fair. Once upon a time, oh Captain, my Captain, I'm so many years behind. I'm still so many years behind.
I didn't know that she'd be so clever. I never dreamed of such imagination. I never read thoughts so expressive. I really must reread The Count of Monte Cristo. What am I thinking? I'm missing appointments to read what she studied in French. I'm baffled, I'm perplexed. Oh, Captain, my Captain, I really must get back to work. I wonder what she'll write me next.
I'd never heard of Meg, Joan, Beth, or Amy. I'd never been to Dover Beach or heard the phrase a man's reach should exceed his grasp. I feel like the idiot or the toilers of the sea. Oh, Captain, my Captain, all the world is verse to me. A lady with a lamp I see. I'd never heard the Moonlight Sonata, a Chopin Polonaise, a Brandenburg Concerto. I didn't know that Lillian Russell triumphed on the stage, or Monet was a painter. And you may laugh at me, I thought George Eliot was without question a man. I'm opening my mind, oh Captain, my Captain, I'm so many years behind. Dear Daddy, I know there is still much catching up to do.
P.S. Some of the girls sell their textbooks when they're through with them, but I intend to keep mine. Then after I graduate, I shall have my whole education in a row in the bookcase.
So much easier and more accurate than trying to keep it in your head. Dear Daddy, Christmas holidays begin next week. The corridors are filled with trunks, and everybody is bubbling with the excitement of going home. Except me, of course.
But I'm going to have a beautiful vacation with the whole library to be read in 3 empty weeks to do it in. I should be perfectly happy, except for one little threatening cloud on the horizon. Examinations in February.
Oh, and don't forget to answer my question.
If you don't want the trouble of writing, have your secretary telegraph. He can just say...
Mr. Smith has white hair.
Or...
Mr. Smith has a little hair.
Or...
Mr. Smith is bald.
Have a lovely Christmas, Daddy, wherever you might be.
Dear Daddy, it's Christmas Eve. I'm up in my tower in the gathering afternoon gloom.
There are snowflakes the size of dinner plates falling outside, but I'm very happy curled up on the window seat with my latest favorite book.
Jane Eyre. I sat up half of last night reading it, and I shall do the same tonight. Those Brontes fascinate me. Their books, their lives, their spirit. Where did they get it? When I was reading about little Jane's troubles in the charity school, I got so angry I had to go out and take a walk.
I'm not suggesting the John Grier home was like that. We had plenty to eat and plenty to wear and a furnace and a cellar. But there was one deadly likeness. Our lives were absolutely monotonous.
You see, Daddy, I think the most important quality for any person to have is imagination. It helps people put themselves in other people's shoes. It makes them kind and sympathetic and understanding. It ought to be cultivated in children.
But the John Grier home stamped out the slightest flicker of imagination that appeared. Duty was the one quality it encouraged.
I don't think children should know the meaning of that odious word. They should do nothing from duty and everything from love.
It's almost dark now. I close my eyes halfway and peer through the falling snow and wonder if I can almost see you looking back at me. And I
send you my love.
send you my love. Jerusha.
P.S. Maybe it isn't proper to send love. If it isn't, please excuse. But I must love somebody at Christmas, and there's only you and Mrs. Lippett, and I can't love her. So you see, you'll have to put up with it.
Isn't it baffling? Curious postscript. What is she thinking of? Why is she sending me love? Isn't it amusing? I have read every last book, but I can't help feeling there's something I still overlook. So I search the page for what's hidden from view. What does she mean by love? It's lost on me. I only wish I knew. I've read the works of Shakespeare. I can quote Lovelace and Gray. But maybe I don't understand what they're trying to say. So I search the page. Is there something I've missed? What does she mean by love? It's just a word, but one that I resist. Childhood memories, long ago feelings, all that's lost in the past. Love is not meant to last. Jerusha, Jerusha, what am I afraid of? It's just a line that she sent, written in haste. I can't bother to know what she meant. But I search the page for what words might reveal. What does she intend to make me feel?
Dearest Daddy Longlegs, I have some awful, awful, awful news to tell you. This is the sunniest, most blinding winter afternoon, with icicles dripping from the fir trees and all the world bending under a weight of snow. Except me, and I'm bending under a weight of sorrow.
I flunked mathematics, and I flunked Latin prose. I am tutoring in them and will take another examination next month.
I know you'll be disappointed. Will you forgive me if I promise never to flunk again? Please tell me you forgive me. Yours in sackcloth.
Dear Mr. Smith, this is a letter in the middle of the month and the middle of the night because I'm so lonely and I can't sleep a wink. I've been in the infirmary for 6 days now with severe tonsillitis and a miserable fever.
Though I don't know why I'm bothering to tell you. You are probably the horridest one of all those horrid trustees. And the only reason you are educating me is not because you care about me, but from a sense of charity. You never answer any of my questions. You never show the slightest bit of interest in my life, in my letters, in my feelings. You are not the man that you appear to be, and I don't know a single thing about you. Not your name, nor your face, nor your family. Do you care if I'm living or I'm breathing? Do you dare to toss it all away? Every word I say, just because you pay for me. Are they for me? I'm a beast. I'm a burden, Daddy. Please forgive what I said. I was mean. I was mad. Oh, but Daddy, I'm no good at being bad. I was hurt. I was wounded, Daddy. I believed you didn't care. Oh, I cried all night long. Oh, but Daddy, I'm so happy being wrong. I thought I imagined you, Daddy. Now I know your technique. You don't have to answer my letters. If you burn the one I sent last week, you are real. You're a person, Daddy. And I pledge with all my heart I will make a success. Oh, 'cause Daddy, I'm unhappy being less. Daddy, I want so much to impress.
From the desk of Mr. Jervis Pendleton. Manhattan, April 1st, April Fool's Day. How appropriate. Dear Miss Abbott, I put pen to paper with some trepidation, but with a feeling after your last letter that I really do owe you some sort of response. I want to write you back, but I don't know what to say. How can I explain that I'm not really old?
And I'm not at all the man that you'd imagine. No, I'm not at all the man you would expect. But Jerusha, would you object? Of course, I write in contravention of my own rules of engagement, which forbid any sort of communication from me to you. Only last month I was guilty of sending you a bouquet of flowers, so perhaps the damage is already done. And it's getting very hard to abstain from a response, especially for a man who loves to correspond. For I long to interject my observations. I'm bursting with opinions and advice. But Jerusha, would they suffice? I shall motor up to the college one of these afternoons and introduce myself. But I must warn you, I'm not good at friendship. I'm not good at attachment or family or commitment. I roundly despise my relations. You're acquainted already with Julia, who I blame for my low expectations. Jerusha. So perhaps it isn't wise to reveal myself just yet. Why not meet you first as the man I really am? Why not introduce myself as Julia's uncle? Daddy, just for now, remains discreet. So Jerusha, when shall we meet?
Dear Daddy Longlegs, did you ever see this college? It is a heavenly spot in May. All the shrubs are in blossom, and the trees are dressed in their loveliest young green, and the grass is dotted with yellow dandelions and hundreds of girls in blue and white and pink dresses. And oh, Daddy, what a day we've had today. A strange man was sighted on campus. Nobody knew who he was at first. Humanity here is so exclusively female that any unknown male specimen is practically a scandal.
The man in question is a Mr. Jervis Pendleton.
Of the house of Julia?
Her uncle, in short.
Or in long, I should say. He's as tall as you, Daddy.
Being in town on business, he decided to run out to the college and call on his niece.
He's her father's youngest brother, but she doesn't know him very intimately. It seems he glanced at Julia as a baby, decided he didn't like her, and has never noticed her since.
Julia and Sally had lessons they just couldn't cut.
So Julia begged me to look after him for the afternoon. I said I would, though my heart sank, because I don't care much for Pendletons. Anyway, it turns out he's as sweet as a lamb. He's a real human being, not a Pendleton at all. With a sweet, dark face and the funniest underneath smile that never quite comes through but just wrinkles up the corner of his mouth. He reminds me of you in much younger days. Softly eccentric and set in his ways. He reminds me of you. It's funny, and yet, how can he really remind me of someone that I've never met? And P.S. I wish you and I could be friends. Wouldn't that be a lovely surprise? 'Cause P.S. how sweet to be writing to you if I knew the color of your eyes. We went for tea at an outdoor cafe. Oh, and his eyes are both blue, by the way. We talked and we talked, you should have been there. And then he went on about Melville and Whitman. I'm floating on air. And P.S. I blushed when he offered his arm, and we walked under fair weather skies. And oh, how I wish that you'd been with us too, and I knew the color of your eyes. He made it seem like I'd known like a child.
Suddenly I'm all grown up.
Oh, what a man I'll never forget. But really the only man I've ever met. Then he took the train and I heaved a sigh. And Julia got angry
because he left not saying goodbye.
And P.S. it's late and I can't get to sleep. So I'll lay out my soul on the line. What do I care if there's blue in his eyes? If someday you're looking into mine, one day you'll be looking into mine. P.P.S. I looked in the mirror this morning and found a perfectly new dimple that I'd never seen before. It's very curious. Where do you think it came from?
P.P.P.S. All through the day yesterday, Mr. Pendleton looked at me as if he really knew me, almost better than I know myself.
But he doesn't know anything about me, really. You're the only man that knows me, though I don't know you at all.
Mr. Jervis Pendleton is a puzzle, and that's a fact.
He seems so sophisticated and assured, a proper Pendleton.
But when he laughs, he becomes like a little boy and not a Pendleton at all.
But then he gets embarrassed that he's let himself be young, and he hides inside his older self again. What shall we think of Mr. Pendleton?
I see my name upon the page. She writes of me in such detail. Am I just fostering her education or reading someone else's mail? I know things I shouldn't know. It isn't fair what I have done, but I can't help myself. She's so enthralling. So I read another one, and I scarcely can believe it, for she will never be like other girls, settle for less like other girls, be invasive or conniving, or a damsel in distress, like other girls, like other girls, like other girls.
I've just had a letter from Mrs. Lippett. She hopes I'm behaving in a manner that would do credit to the John Grier home. And since I've no place to go this summer, she orders me back to the asylum to work for my board till college opens in the fall. I hate the John Grier home. I'd rather die than go back. Yours most truthfully.
Dear Miss Abbott, Mr. Smith instructs me to tell you that he would be pleased
if you would agree to spend the summer at Loch Willow Farm. Address and directions are enclosed. He trusts you will find the accommodation acceptable.
Please acknowledge by return, yours, etc., Secretary to Mr. Smith.
Dear, sweet Daddy Longlegs, you are such a brick.
Brick?
I am so happy to accept your offer to spend the summer at Loch Willow Farm, though I'm scared that Mrs. Lippett will stretch out a long arm and grab me back.
Loch Willow.
What a lovely name for a farm.
I don't really know what a farm is. I've never been on one in my life. But I know I'm going to love it. I'm going to love being free.
Oh, Daddy, happy day. I'm here. I'm on a farm.
And it's heavenly.
The house is square and old.
100 years or so.
It sits on the top of a hill.
Surrounded by hemlocks.
And maples.
And murmuring pines.
And looks way off over miles of green ridges to another line of hills.
The people here are Mr. and Mrs. Semple, who farm the land, along with a hired girl called Carrie, and 2 hired men, Amasai and old Ira Hatch. I'm eating more than I ever did in my life. For supper last night, we had ham and eggs and biscuits and honey and jelly cake and pie and pickles and cheese and cups of tea.
I confidently expect to become very fat.
My room is big and square and empty with adorable old-fashioned furniture and windows that have to be propped up on sticks.
And a large pine table. I'm going to spend the summer with my elbows spread out on it, writing a novel.
Dear Daddy, Sundays in Lock Willow are proving to be a real test of character, but today was the worst so far.
We hitched up the wagon and drove to church, where the minister encouraged us to abandon all thoughts of earthly joy for fear of eternal hellfire.
I find it isn't safe to discuss religion with the Semples.
Their God, whom they inherited from their remote Puritan ancestors, is a narrow, unjust, irrational, mean, revengeful, bigoted person. Thank heaven I didn't inherit my God from anyone. I'm free to make mine up as I wish him. He's kind and sympathetic and imaginative and forgiving and understanding, and he has a sense of humor.
I like the Semples immensely, but they are better than their own God. I told them so, and they are horribly troubled. They think I'm blasphemous.
And I think they are.
We came home from church in a resentful silence.
When we got back to the farm, we found that Buttercup, one of the cows, had gotten to the orchard last night and eaten dozens of apples until they went to her head. Now she's dead drunk, and it's all my fault. I was the one that left the gate open.
And this afternoon I was collecting eggs in the hayloft when I fell off a beam, cut my knee on a pitchfork,
And broke every egg in my basket.
I ran back to the house and slipped in a mess by the farmyard gate.
I was wearing my best Sunday shoes, the ones you bought me, and they'll never be the same again.
Did you ever hear of such a discouraging series of events?
I didn't get to work on my novel until halfway through the afternoon. But when I finally got to my table, I had such a nice surprise.
There in the middle of the page was the biggest, most beautiful daddy longlegs I've ever seen. I mean a real one, Daddy, of the 8-legged sort. I picked him up very carefully by one leg and dropped him out of the window. He floated on the wind like a feather and landed gently on a clump of honeysuckle.
As I watched him go, I thought about today. You know, Daddy, it isn't the big troubles in life that require character. Anyone can rise to a crisis and face a crushing tragedy with courage. But to meet the petty hazards of the day with a laugh, I really think that requires spirit. I've discovered the secret of happiness is learning how to glide. I've discovered the secret of happiness is just enjoy the ride. Don't let the journey be tainted by pride. And I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to mourn the past. I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to run too fast. You can still beat them by coming in last, 'cause the secret of happiness is I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to be afraid. I've discovered the secret of happiness is all illusions fade. Don't fear the future, you'll just be delayed, 'cause the secret of happiness is living in the now, living in the time it takes to blink, I think is how we're meant to be living. I've discovered the secret of happiness is following my will. I've discovered the secret of happiness is though we can run that hill, happiness comes when we learn to be still. And the secret of happiness is, the secret of happiness is clear. The secret of happiness is near. The secret of happiness is here.
Daddy, today I made a truly amazing discovery. I was searching in the attic for something to read when I came across a stout wooden box with a skull and crossbones painted on the top, like a pirate's treasure chest.
I opened it up, and inside there was a pile of very thumbed, illustrated boys' adventure stories. One was called On the Trail, and scrawled across the front cover in a funny little boy hand were the words, "If this book should ever roam, box its ears and send it home to Jervis Pendleton." I ran downstairs to show it to Mrs. Semple, and she told me that the Pendleton family used to own this farm, and Julia's uncle, whom she calls Master Jervy.
Master Jervy.
Spent a summer here once after he'd been very ill. He was 11 years old, and his mother had just died. After that, he came back year after year for all his summer holidays. Then later, after he'd grown up and inherited the farm, he gave it to Mrs. Semple for being a second mother to him all that time. Isn't that a wonderful story? But it makes me wonder about you even more than I did before. Did you know Mr. Pendleton yourself? Or more likely his father, or even his grandfather, I suppose. How old are you, Daddy? I know you won't tell me, but you can't stop me wondering. Where are you now? How goes your day? And is your head sporting silver or gray? What are you like? Who could you be? 'Cause I have imagined a kindly old man of at least 83. And what would I think if I knew who you were? On my own I can only surmise. But if we could meet, it would lift my heart so, and I'd know the color of your eyes.
Dear Miss Jerusha, I've been meaning to write to you for quite some time, but with no success. It felt rather dishonest writing to you as Jervis Pendleton when all your letters were being written to me as Daddy Longlegs, so I put it off. I shouldn't have done, but I did. Your discovery of my connection to Loch Willow has made a confession all the more necessary, but I still don't know whether to write to you as Jervis telling you I'm Daddy or Daddy telling you I'm Jervis.
Either way, I fear I shall be a terrible disappointment to you.
What can I say? What would make sense? I've made a mess of things at your expense. My little deceit is haunting me now. And all I want is to tell you the truth, but I just don't know how. 'Cause what will you think when you know who I am? When you've seen through my foolish
I'm
disguise?
so excited.
And how can I manage to soften the blow when you know the color of my lies?
I'm curious.
I'm absentee.
What are you like?
You mustn't see the man I am,
Will I
the man I'll never be.
the color of your Daddy. I'm really turning into somebody now, a proper sophomore. I'm really turning into so much more than just a girl. It's lovely looking down on all the freshmen, a hopelessly ignorant lot. I'm really turning into somebody now, a modern woman. And who do you suppose I'm rooming with? Sally McBride.
And Julia Rutledge Pendleton. It's the truth.
A Pendleton is rooming with an orphan. What a democratic country this is. Sally is running for class president, and unless all signs fail, she's going to be elected.
Such an atmosphere of intrigue. You should see what politicians we are.
Oh, I tell you, Daddy, when we women get our rights, you men will have to look alive to keep yours. I'm really turning into somebody now, an academic. Courses in romantic poetry and Latin verse. I'm mixing salt with hydrochloric acid, and geometry is really complex. Listen to what I've learned. The area of the convex surface of the frustum of a regular pyramid is half the product of the sum of the perimeters of its bases by the altitude of either of its trapezoids. It doesn't sound true, but it is. Oh, and Daddy, guess what? Sally McBride invited me to spend the whole Christmas with her in Massachusetts. Isn't that lovely? I am so excited to go. You have no idea. They are such a close-knitted family, dear Daddy Longlegs. How will I fit in?
Families. I never dreamed they could be so nice.
Sally has a father and a mother and a grandmother and the sweetest little 3-year-old baby sister and a medium-sized brother who forgets to wipe his feet.
And a big, good-looking brother named Jimmy, who's a junior at Princeton.
I've been here for just about a week now. Guess what Sally's family did? They threw me a bowl in my honor. It was the first ball I'd attended, with long white gloves and white satin shoes. I led the cotillion
With Sally's brother, Jim.
If you could see me dance within, dear Daddy Longlegs, the sight of Jerusha and Jimmy McBride. Would you be terribly displeased, Daddy, if I didn't become a great author after all, but just a plain girl?
Dear Daddy, Julia's desirable uncle came to see us this afternoon and brought a 3-pound box of chocolates.
Then he stayed for tea in the study, though we had an awful lot of trouble getting permission. Julia had to swear before a notary public that he really was her uncle.
Sally said the dean would never have allowed it if she'd chanced to see how youngish and good-looking Uncle Jervis is.
I told him I'd spent the summer at Loch Willow Farm. He was surprised I knew the place.
But remembered it very well himself.
We had a beautiful, gossipy time about the Semples and the horses
and the chickens
and the cows
and the frogs
and the sweet little skunks.
Sweet little skunks.
He even remembered the pirate chest in the attic.
And the boys' adventure stories.
He asked if they still kept
Donuts in a yellow crock with a blue plate over it on the bottom shelf of the pantry. And they do!
I called him Master Jervy to his face, and he didn't appear insulted. Julia said she's never seen him so amiable. But Julia hasn't a bit of tact, and men, I find, require a great deal. They purr if you rub them the right way and spit if you don't. Oh, and Daddy, here's the best part. Mr. Pendleton has invited Julia and Sally and me to New York next Friday.
Julia will be staying with her family, naturally.
But Sally and I are going to stop at the Martha Washington Hotel. I've never been in a hotel in my life.
Did you ever hear of anything so exciting?
I don't believe I'll ever go to heaven. I'm getting everything I want down here.
The lights are bright in the New York night. There's a bustle on the street. And you feel alive, but you don't know why. And you're dizzy from the heat. The traffic moves in rhythm with your own heartbeat. When you woke today, you didn't know what the world is all about. You can never see the way you saw before, and now there isn't any doubt. The city's full of questions that you must find out. Let me show you my Manhattan. It's mesmerizing, a metropolitan dream. You would thrive in my Manhattan. A thousand lights for you to see. Oh, the things you'll be. Let me show you my Manhattan, Jerusha. And a trolley car and a 2-cent plane, then Julia buys a hat. So we're running late for a play at 8 about a Danish autocrat. A town that never sleeps, can you imagine that? Let me show you my Manhattan. It's captivating. New York Times at your door. You would flourish in Manhattan. With so much wonder in the air, nothing can compare. Let me show you my Manhattan, Jerusha.
Mercy, Daddy, isn't New York big? Do you mean to tell me you live in all that confusion? It'll take me months to recover from 2 days of it. Oh, and Daddy, isn't Shakespeare wonderful? Master Jervy took us to see Hamlet.
If you've never seen it on the stage, you really must. It's perfectly corking.
I've been hearing about Shakespeare all my life, but I had no idea he really wrote so well.
I've always suspected he went largely on his reputation. You are welcome in Manhattan. It's waiting for you. Rendezvous in Times Square. Take a chance on my Manhattan.
Fifth Avenue
The Algonquin is the rage. Caruso on the stage. Write a page about Manhattan. The plaza, rubbing elbows with a queen while having drinks with Oscar Hammerstein. The Belasco and the Met.
Coney
the sights you will not
Island.
soon
There's
forget.
J.P. Morgan.
Just hop on the Ninth Avenue line. This city could be yours and mine. My Manhattan, your Manhattan, our Manhattan.
Ferguson Hall, June the 2nd. Mr. Daddy Longlegs Smith.
Sir, having perfected the science of dividing a thesis under different headings, I will now adopt the same form for my letter writing. All necessary facts are included without unnecessary verbiage.
1. We had written examinations this week in A, chemistry, B, history.
2. We had junket for dessert tonight, flavored with A, vanilla, B, nutmeg.
3. I'm writing a special essay on the sources of Shakespeare's plays.
4. Louisa McMahon slipped and fell this afternoon at basketball, and she A, dislocated her shoulder, B, bruised her knee.
5. I have a new hat trimmed with A, blue velvet ribbon, B, 2 indigo quills, C, 3 red pom-poms.
6. It is 9:30.
7. Good night.
P.S. Oh, and Daddy, you'll never guess the nice thing that has happened. Mrs. McBride invited me to spend the summer in the Adirondacks with the whole family. Jimmy McBride is going to have some college friends visiting, so we shall have plenty of men to dance with. Dear Miss Abbott, Mr. Smith prefers that you should decline Mrs. McBride's invitation.
Why, Daddy? Mrs. McBride wants me really and truly. I'll be a help. It's a fine chance for me to learn housekeeping. Every woman ought to understand it, and I only know asylum keeping. And she wants me as a companion for Sally. We're planning to do such a lot of reading together. And Jimmy McBride is going to teach me how to ride on horseback and paddle a canoe and shoot and fish and everything I've always wanted to do. Please let me go, Daddy. I've never wanted anything so much.
Miss Abbott, Mr. Smith has made his decision. You will return to Loch Willow, the same as last summer.
Sir, regarding yours of the 7th, compliance with the instructions received through your secretary, I leave on Friday next to spend the summer at Loch Willow Farm. I remain yours, etc., Jerusha, Abbott, Miss. It's been nearly 2 months now since I wrote you last. You can't imagine my regret. Still, it wasn't very nice not to write. I won't see Sally in the summer. I know you must have had your reasons. I know you didn't mean to hurt me, Daddy. Don't know why you behave as you do. Just a line on a card that denotes where you have ordered me to. You don't try to imply there's a why. I wouldn't venture a guess. I couldn't know someone less. I've imagined you so many ways. You are kind, you are tall, you are old. But in all those pondering days, I did not imagine you heartless and cold. I thought you cared, I confess. I couldn't know someone less. And I'm here on a farm in the country, sleep in a wooden bed. Mrs. Semple is really quite simple, sees that the cows are fed. Tomorrow we may paint the barn a different shade of red. There's an ice cream social at the schoolhouse. I wish I were dead. If I could travel to places in books, I could see with my eyes how Milton's heaven looks. But I am here watching days slip away, adrift in my own discontent. Though you've shown me kindness and changed my life, I must confess. Why would you set me free only to imprison me? I couldn't know someone less.
Dear Jerusha, enough is enough. No more duplicity, no more deceit. The man you think you know as Mr. Smith, or Daddy Longlegs, as you so wittily nominated him, is none other than me, your friend. Your good friend. Your dear friend? Jervis. It is I, not Daddy Longlegs, who read your funny essay, dragged you from the orphanage, sent you to college, paid for your clothes, your food, your books, and everything else you possess. I'm afraid Daddy Longlegs is a figment of your imagination, just as Mr. Smith was a figment of mine. I am just a fool, an imposter and a fake, like the lady of the lake. I'm drowning in the waves of my deceit, but rescued by your face each time we meet. If I tell you the truth,
at last? Would I lose your esteemed affection? Would you hate me and curse my name? I'd only have myself to blame. So, why upset you now when we can still be friends as the truth just slightly bends? I'm happy in my mad hypocrisy, pretending I'm the man I'll never be. Dear Miss Abbott, I've just heard from Julia that you are in Lock Willow for the summer. By an extraordinary coincidence, I am about to visit an ailing elderly aunt, who lives a little north of there, and I'll be motoring back home in just over a week's time. So I hope you don't mind my dropping in and seeing the Semples and sharing the place for a few days. What a pleasure it will be to see Lock Willow again after so many years. And you too, of course.
Well, Daddy, you'll never, never, never guess who's arrived at Lock Willow.
Master Jervy!
And such a nice time we're having. At least I am, and I think he is too, for he's been here 10 days already and doesn't show any signs of leaving. He still looks like a true Pendleton, but he isn't in the least. He's just as simple and unaffected and sweet as can be.
Such a lot of adventures we're having.
We've explored the country.
For miles and miles.
And I've learned to fish.
With funny little flies.
Made of feathers and twine.
And shoot with a revolver.
And paddle a canoe.
And ride on horseback.
On Sunday, we scandalized the Semples by skipping church.
We climbed Sky Hill instead.
That's a mountain near here.
Not an awfully tall mountain, perhaps. No snow at the summit.
At least you're pretty breathless when you reach the top.
We stayed at the top for the sunset, built a fire and some rocks, and cooked our supper.
We came down by moonlight. It was so beautiful.
We laughed and joked and talked the whole way.
He's read all the books I've read and lots of others besides.
Before we got home, we got caught in a rainstorm and ran like crazy children and took shelter in a grove of gigantic old pines.
We sat in silence till the rain stopped and the moon sailed back out over the scudding clouds.
I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to run too fast. I've discovered the secret of happiness is not to mourn the past. Nothing of any importance can last. I imagined the secret of happiness was the art of compromise. But I've discovered the secret of happiness is looking in your eyes. Happiness comes as a total surprise. And the secret of happiness is living in the now. Living in the time it takes to blink, I think is how we're meant to be living. I discovered the secret of happiness is all the stars that shine. But I've discovered the secret of happiness is something more divine. That her happiness is more precious than mine. The secret of happiness is the secret of happiness is the secret of happiness is here. The secret of happiness is here.
Daddy. I'm so happy to be back at college and working again. Though I got a lot accomplished at Lock Willow. 6 short stories and 7 poems. Those I sent to magazines all came back with the most courteous promptitude, but I don't mind. It's good practice. And now, Daddy, news from the groves of academe. I've elected economics this year.
A very illuminating subject.
And when I finish that,
I'm going to take charity and reform.
then, Mr. Trustee, I'll know just how to run an orphanage.
And just you wait to see the asylum I'm going to run.
It's my favorite play at night before I go to sleep.
I plan my orphans' lives down to the slightest detail, their meals and clothes and lessons.
And punishments, for even my superior orphans are sometimes bad.
But anyway, I'm going to make them happy. And here's another thing.
Don't you think I'd make an admirable voter if women had their rights? I was 21 last week. This is an awfully wasteful country to throw away such an honest,
Educated,
conscientious,
intelligent citizen
as I would be.
Oh, and that reminds me. At church yesterday, a preacher from Georgia said, "We girls must take care not to develop our intellects at the expense of our womanly natures."
It's always the same. Why on earth don't they go to men's colleges and urge the students there not to allow their manly natures to be crushed by too much mental activity?
P.S. Julia has invited me to spend Christmas in New York with her family. Fancy Jerusha Abbott of the John Grier Home sitting at the tables of the rich. I'd rather go to Sally's, but Julia asked me first.
Dear Daddy Longlegs, Christmas with the Pendletons was such an illuminating time, but I'm glad I don't belong to such a family. The material atmosphere of that house was crushing. I never heard one word of real talk from the time we arrived until we left. I don't believe an idea ever entered the front door. Perfectly awful days. Christmas in Manhattan, such pretension and pointless conversation. Perfectly awful days, the air of self-importance. I was drowning in social obligation. Poor Jerusha Abbott had to bear the brunt of it all. Poor Jerusha Abbott, the only orphan on the Upper East Side. If I ever marry and have a family, I'm going to make them as exactly like Sally and Jimmy as I can. Not for all the money in the world would I ever let any children of mine develop into Pendletons. I saw Master Jervy only once when he came for tea, but I didn't have a chance to speak to him alone. He was so uneasy, not himself at all.
His relations seem to freeze his blood.
Julia's mother says he's unbalanced, and it all comes from him being a bachelor. She introduced him to dozens of eligible heiresses, but he turned his nose up at all of them.
Julia's aunt says he was sweet on one of them for a while, but she threw him over for an English duke, and he never recovered.
Julia's grandmother suspects he's a socialist. She can't imagine where he picked up his queer ideas. He sometimes forgets to shave.
And he throws away all of his money on every sort of crazy liberal reform instead of spending it on sensible things like yachts and automobiles and polo ponies.
You know, Daddy, I think I'll be a socialist too. You wouldn't mind, would you? I probably am one by rights. I'm sure I belong to the proletariat. Now, Daddy, I must sleep, but we shall wait and see just what type of socialist I'm to be.
Dear comrade, hooray, I'm a Fabian.
That's a socialist who's willing to wait.
We don't want the social revolution to come tomorrow morning. It would be too upsetting.
We want it to come very gradually in the distant future when we shall all be prepared and able to sustain the shock.
In the meantime, we must be getting ready by instigating industrial, educational, and
Orphan Asylum Reforms. Yours, with fraternal love, Jerusha.
Dear Daddy, such a busy time. Vacation in 10 days, examinations tomorrow. Lots of studying, lots of packing. Though the outdoors is so lovely that it hurts you to stay inside.
Julia is going abroad this summer to Paris and wants me to go with her. And Sally and Jimmy want me to go with them to the Adirondacks. So what do you think I'm going to do? You may have 3 guesses.
Paris.
Wrong.
The Adirondacks?
Wrong. I'll tell you, Daddy, if you promise not to make a lot of objections. And I warn your secretary ahead of time that my mind is made up.
I'm taking a job.
Living with Sally and Julia has been an awful strain on my stoical philosophy. They've both had things since the time they were babies. The world, they think, owes them everything they want. And maybe it does, for it seems to pay up whenever they need it. But as for me, it owes me nothing, and it's time to start paying back my debt. So I shall teach French and algebra this summer and begin to support myself.
My dear Jerusha, I've just heard from Julia that you declined her invitation to Paris. Are you insane? Foreign travel is a crucial part of your education, and Paris, the most dazzling city in the world. Quite apart from anything else, I shall be there myself. And I'm sure we could slip away from our Pendleton chaperones and have the odd dinner together at some cozy little bistro. Write to me by return telling me you've changed your mind. Jervis Pendleton.
Dear Mr. Pendleton, a change of mind is out of the question. I have secured a holiday situation with a Mrs. Charles Patterson and her sweet little daughter, Florence. Yours, Jerusha.
Jerusha, you are quite the most silly, foolish, irrational, quixotic, idiotic, stubborn child I've ever met. You really must learn to take the advice of those who are older and wiser than you are. Please reconsider your ludicrous plan. Jervis. Dear Miss Abbott, Mr. Smith strongly objects to your wasting your precious time and talent on a pointless display of independence. He would far prefer you to take up the Pendletons' very kind offer of a trip to Paris, where your writing career would be nourished by contact with the most refined company imaginable, yours, etc.
Dear Daddy, too late, I'm afraid. I'm here at the seaside, stuffing first declension nouns into little Florence Patterson. She is rather dim, I'm afraid. And uncommonly spoiled. She's never had to concentrate on anything more difficult than ice cream soda. But I'm writing my novel for 3 solid hours before breakfast every morning, so please have no worries about my literary career. Of course, I wanted to go to Paris with Julia and Master Jervie, and if he hadn't been so dictatorial, I might have changed my mind. But to be called a silly, foolish, irrational, quixotic, idiotic, stubborn child, that was what made up my mind. Please, don't be cross with me, Daddy. It's bad enough that I've quarreled with Jervie. Have a lovely summer, wherever you are. Loving you always.
Jerusha, ma chérie, just back from Paris. What a fascinating city. And how sad the lives of those who never see it. Now, what do you think? I'm looking at my diary and I see the first week of September is remarkably empty. So I could just squeeze in a visit to Loch Willow. I assume you'd be free to join me? No answer necessary. I'll see you there. Jervis.
Dear Daddy, a horribly complacent little note from Master Jervie expecting to see me at Loch Willow in September, and a lovely long letter from Sally inviting me to Camp McBride for the same time. Must I ask your permission to go, or may I do now as I please? Yes, I'm sure I can. I'm nearly a senior now, you know. Anyway, I want to see Sally, and I want to see Jimmy, and I want Master Jervie to arrive at Loch Willow and find me not there. I must show him that he can't dictate to me. No one can dictate to me but you, Daddy, and you can't always. I'm off to the woods.
Miss Abbott! Mr. Smith positively forbids you to fritter away any more of your time in a purely social excursion to the Adirondacks.
Sorry, Daddy, but your letter didn't come in time. If you wish your instructions to be obeyed, you must have your secretary write more promptly. The woods are fine, and so is the camp, and so is the weather, and so are the McBrides, and so is the whole world. I'm very, very happy.
Jerusha, I'm afraid I can't join you in Loch Willow after all. I've been invited by some very close friends to go yachting at Rhode Island. Have a lovely summer and enjoy the farm, Jervis.
Dear Daddy, what do you think of this? A note Master Jervie sent to Loch Willow but forwarded here. He's sorry, but he finds he can't join me there. He's going yachting with some friends instead. But all this time, he knew I was with the McBrides, for Sally told Julia, and Julia told him. You men ought to leave intrigue to us women. You haven't a light enough touch. Oh, there's there's Jimmy calling for me to go canoeing. Goodbye.
Completely deflating. I've been hung out to dry. I wanted my cake, but instead she will make me eat helpings of more humble pie. And whether it's Jervis who writes or Daddy's decree, she falls rather short of obeying me. And now there's Jimmy McBride there by her side. I'm ashamed of the man I've become. Angry words on a page that betray all the lies I've spun. I must leave you to find your own way, to fail or succeed. Nonetheless, I've lost my heart, I confess, and it seems I've turned into someone I could not know less.
Dear Daddy Longlegs, back at college and a senior, also editor of The Monthly. I love my student life, but this year's different because it's the last. The swift hand of time is dragging me forward at a terrible speed. No news from Master Jervy. I fear he won't forgive me for ignoring him this summer. But I can't think of him now. I must work and write and devote myself to you and all that you've done for me. Oh, Daddy, a blight has fallen over my career. I've been writing my novel all through the summer, and 2 weeks ago I sent it to a publisher. A perfectly awful day. My book has been rejected. It's insipid and lacks imagination. The plot is overwrought. The characters are shallow, and the humor is hopelessly sophomoric. Poor Jerusha Abbott, wounded to the core of her soul. Poor Jerusha Abbott might as well be affiliated with the John Grier Home. I took my manuscript walking with me yesterday afternoon. And when I came to the boiler house, I went in and asked the janitor if I might borrow his furnace. He politely opened the door, and with my own hands, I chucked it in. I felt as though I had cremated my only child.
I'm so glad Master Jervy couldn't see my disappointment. For this is one blow I can only share with you, Daddy.
I went to bed last night utterly dejected. I thought I would never amount to anything and that you had thrown away your money for nothing. But what do you think?
I woke up this morning with a beautiful new plot in my head, and I've been going about all day planning my characters just as happy as I could be.
Master Jervy would be proud of me.
Never give up, he always used to say, though he seems to have given me up now.
Daddy dear, please observe the postmark. Sally and I are at Loch Willow for Easter, tramping over the hills and reading and writing. We climbed to the top of Sky Hill this morning, where Master Jervy and I once cooked our supper. It doesn't seem possible it was nearly 2 years ago.
I could still see the place where the smoke of our fire blackened the rocks. It made me quite lonely to be there without him.
Lonely and a little frightened. How is that man? I mustn't wonder. I'm progressing with my book. I'm eating it up in chunks. I've caught the secret. Master Jervy is right about most things, and he was certainly right about this. You are most convincing when you write about the things you know. And this time it is something I know exhaustively. Guess where it's set?
In the John Grier Home.
And it's good, Daddy. It's just about the tiny little things that happened every day. And it's going to get itself finished and published. You see if it doesn't. You just want a thing hard enough and keep on persevering. You get it in the end. I've been trying for 4 years to get a letter out of you. and I haven't given up hope yet. Graduation is 3 weeks from next Wednesday. You will come and make my acquaintance, won't you? I shall hate you if you don't.
Sally's inviting Jimmy McBee. Julia's inviting Master Jervy.
I'll finally see him again, but he won't be there for me. He cares nothing for me anymore, I'm sure of that now. So who is there for me to invite? Just you and Mrs. Lippett, and I don't want her. You have to come, Daddy, to be proud of me, just this once. Why does it feel like I'm flying? Somebody wake me at last, for I'm right on the edge of the wide, wide world. As I look at so many faces, in a place I never dreamed I would be, there is one empty chair that I simply can't bear to see. And I'm fighting back the tears. Yes, I'm fighting back the tears on graduation day. Still, this is rather amazing. Summa cum laude and all. But it won't mean a thing if everyone's legs are small. And I'm fighting back the tears. Yes, I'm fighting back the tears on graduation day.
I'm here, Jerusha. I'm standing in front of you now. I'm here, Jerusha. I just look like a person you know. I'm here, Jerusha. I'm here, Jerusha. And I'm fighting back the tears. Yes, I'm fighting back the tears on graduation day.
Well, this is your loss, Mr. Clothespole.
Well, here
Mr.
I
Girl Hater, dear Mr. Smith,
am, right before your
or whatever you're called. You did not show.
I'm right
you are not here, and I'm fighting back the tears,
back the tears.
breaking through my fears, for I will stand out from the crowd.
And you have made somebody proud.
Jerusha Abbott, Bachelor of Arts, class of 1912. Summa cum laude. Valedictorian. You did it! I helped a little. But it was only money. Money, it seems, that has now outlived its usefulness. So, Mr. John Smith, philanthropist and octogenarian, rest in peace. Charity. It bites the hand that dispenses it. Corrodes the heart of the giver, however pure his motives. If he truly cares for the person he helps, how can his money ever be enough? Builds a wall of gratitude that can never be climbed from either side. Charity, oh charity. Now, what can I do? Once I gave to those
charity. I cannot believe how easier it is to give than to let yourself receive. For what you have given me came out of the blue. What you have done for me, I never could do. Just who is helping who? You are free to go your way, whatever path you choose. The love I've lost in you, my friend, was never mine to lose. For what you have given me came out of the blue. What you have done for me, I never could do. Charity, just who is helping who? Just who is helping who?
Dear Daddy Longlegs, I'm educated. My diploma is in a bottom bureau drawer with my 2 best dresses. I'm here at Lock Willow for the summer. Forever, maybe. The board is cheap, the surroundings quiet and conducive to a literary life. I'm mad about my book. I think of it every waking moment and dream of it at night. Master Jervie wrote me a very sweet letter in the week after graduation, full of warm wishes for the future. He seems to have recovered his old, lovely, sunny, funny self. But there's still something missing, and I can't work out what it is. Oh, and Jimmy McBride is dropping by sometime during the summer. He's connected with a bond house now and goes about the country selling bonds to banks. He's combining the Farmers National and me on the same trip. I used to think you might come motoring through Lock Willow one day. But when you didn't come to my graduation, I gave that up as a hopeless dream and buried it forever. I have torn you from my heart. I have stripped myself of any pointless expectations that you will ever change your ways. I have torn you from my life. I have washed my hands of ever hoping you will be there when I most need a friend, but you'll never be there, Daddy. Mr. Smith. I ought to let you know I'm thinking of moving. Sally is going to do settlement work in Boston next winter. I'm thinking of going with her. We could have a studio together. I could write while she settled.
I really am a writer now. And to prove it, here's a check for $1,000.
It seems so funny, me sending money to you. Where do you think I got it?
I've sold my story.
It's going to be published serially in 7 parts, and then in a book. I owe you $2,000 more. The rest will be coming in installments. Don't be horrid, please, about taking it. I owe you more than money, and I will continue to pay all my life in gratitude and affection. Once I've paid off my debt to you, all my future royalties will go to the John Grier Home. If the book does really well, they'll make me a trustee, just like you. Then you'll have to meet me. You see, Mr. Smith, I've got it all worked out. My first duty as a new trustee will be to reform the asylum under new management. You will help me, won't you? Mrs. Lippett must be replaced by someone generous and clever and sweet-natured. Don't you think Sally McBride would be the perfect choice? P.S. I've left the check blank for you to fill in your real name, whatever it is.
I hold my breath as I read her words. I can't believe my eyes. I always knew she would have her day. Still, it takes me by surprise. Here's Jerusha Abbott, author on the rise. And I'm swept away by a wind of change. My path is now assured. She's free to live how she wants to live. Now her future is secured. As her loyal readers follow every word, I am beaming in Manhattan, intoxicated with unspeakable joy. I'm in heaven in Manhattan, but with caution to be sure, for there's one thing more. There's a question in Manhattan for Jerusha.
Dear Daddy, something has happened. I know I wash my hands of you forever, but I need advice. I need it from you and from nobody else in the world. You know I've always had a special feeling towards you, but you won't mind, will you, if I tell you I have a more special feeling towards another man? He reminds me of you, so proper and such. I suppose you half expected as much. We think the same thoughts, we share the same dreams. And when we're laughing, I swear time stands still. At least that's how it seems. But Daddy, I'm sure I have wounded his soul. My poet, my mentor, my muse. 'Cause P.S. last night, Jervis asked for my hand.
Marry me, Jerusha. Give me your heart. You know you have mine.
Oh, why did I refuse? Now he's gone away imagining that I want to marry Jimmy McBride. I don't in the least. Jimmy's a lovely boy, but he isn't grown up enough, and I don't think he ever will be. The truth is, Daddy, I care for Mr. Pendleton too much to let him marry me, because I know he would regret it in the future, and I couldn't stand that. It just doesn't seem right that a person of my upbringing should marry into such a family as his. And I couldn't bring myself to tell him about the John Grier Home, that I don't know who I am. My family may be dreadful, you know, and his family is so proud. And I'm so proud, too. I've been thinking very hard about it. Of course, he is a socialist and has unconventional ideas. Maybe he wouldn't mind marrying an unknown orphan as much as some men might. Perhaps when two people are exactly in accord, and always happy when together and lonely when apart, they ought not to let anything in the world stand between them. Of course, I want to believe that. Suppose I go to him and tell him that the problem isn't Jimmy, it's the John Grier home. Would that be a dreadful thing for me to do? It would take a great deal of courage. I'd almost rather be miserable the rest of my life. But oh, Daddy, I miss him, and miss him, and miss him. The whole world seems empty and aching without him. I hate the moonlight because it's beautiful and he isn't here to see it with me. But maybe you've loved somebody too, and you know how I feel. If you have, I don't need to explain. If you haven't, I can't explain. Daddy, what shall I do? Please let me see you. Please.
My dear young lady, please come to see me next Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. I hope you will have no difficulty making your way to the above address. I'm afraid, however, that you might find me deficient in the sort of wisdom that you seek. I am, in fact, rather unpracticed in matters of the heart, as I fear you will discover when we finally meet. Your
Daddy Longlegs. I've discovered the secret of happiness is Wednesday afternoon. I've discovered the secret of happiness is that I will see you soon. A man as obscure as the man in the moon. Hello? Hello? Mr. Smith. What are you doing here? Do you know Mr. Smith? Or whatever he's called.
I do.
So you know about me then? You know about the John Grier home?
I do.
How long have you known? Don't tell me. You can't be. His secretary?
Well, not exactly.
Where is he?
He's right here. I'm afraid.
You read my letters. All my letters? The ones about you? They were private letters.
I know.
They were letters to him, not you.
I know.
He would never have done such a thing. You're not even old.
Guilty. Guilty as charged. I'm a beast. I'm a disappointment. And I've earned your contempt. I was rash. I was wrong. Jerusha, I'm no good at being strong.
How strong did you have to be to pick up a fountain pen?
So many times I wanted to tell you, but I lost my nerve. Now I feel your scorn and frustration. It's a bitter blow I well deserve. I'm a beast. I was overzealous. Guess I have a jealous heart.
How could you possibly imagine I would ever marry Jimmy McBride?
I was daft. I was blind. But Jerusha, I never meant to be unkind. Well, anyway, it was all your fault.
My fault.
I never intended to pay the least attention to you. I said so in my perfectly sensible 9-point plan. And you started sending me all these ludicrously expressive letters, and my curiosity got the better of me. I had to see who this impetuous, delightful creature was, and I couldn't very well dress up as a bald old coot of 83, so I went as myself. Such as I am.
Go on.
I would never have done such a silly, foolish, irrational, quixotic, idiotic, stubborn, childish thing if I had any idea at all that I would fall completely, madly, and hopelessly in love with you.
All the clues were there, right before my eyes. How could I be so surprised? And yet, it appears I never knew. All this time, Daddy has been you. How was I so blind that I could never see? You were always here with me, and yet it appears I never knew. All this time, Daddy has been you. Yet you lied and betrayed my trust, and you made me appear so foolish. Though it seems I'm the last to know, I'd be a fool to let you go. Life may not last
My life will
long,
never last without your
and a
love.
horse might not play
I know
fair.
it wasn't fair. Oh, but
A love like ours is rare. And what I thought impossible is true. All this time, I've been in love with you. And it seems as I say these words that I am writing my first love letter. It surprises me even now and makes me laugh that I know how. So with all my heart racing as it soars, I am most sincerely yours, Jerusha, who will keep her Jervy strong and forgives her
gray.